Hello, and welcome to Stories with Bev. My name is Bev, and I'm going to tell you a story. So the book I'm going to be reading this story from is called They Watch and Other Stories, which is a book that I wrote, and you can buy it on a website, which I'm going to link in the description. The first story is called The Legend of Jazzer. It was a new mode of transportation. The opening of the subway in the United States began with New York's own 9th Avenue. October 27, 1904, was the birth of a new way to transport underground, away from the eyes of the sun. Stations came and went from many places. Over time, subways became less of a popular way to transport and became abandoned all over the Western Hemisphere. My friends and I were especially interested in an abandoned tunnel in New York called the City Hall Station. I came with them for a thesis on ancient urban transportation. They followed me for company while I intended to gather data. My friend Jeff, however, had a different goal in mind. "Haven't you heard the stories, guys?" he asked the three of us. Archimedes, a mousy freshman who enjoyed history and not much else, stood closest to me. Rebecca glared at Jeff, chewing her gum. She had her arms crossed as she was uninterested in our eccentric friend's ghost stories. He seemed to want to take every opportunity he could in order to scare the life out of poor Archimedes. Rebecca did not approve. I was admittedly a little interested, but I didn't want to scare Archimedes. No one answered him, hoping it would discourage him from talking about it. It never worked. I have no idea why we thought it might. "Come on, this is more than just history. This is history," Jeff implored. He was the first one through the taped-off entrance to the underground. His upbeat voice echoed the story throughout the narrow tunnel. "Every abandoned subway has stories of this guy. How can you not be curious?" I suppose we all were a little curious. We were doing this at night, after all. I tried to convince my friends, and convince myself, it was to avoid getting caught by security. But I've always liked a good horror story. Deep down, I think Rebecca and Archimedes liked them too. Why else would they volunteer to come when they knew how Jeff would be in places like this? We all had our flashlights and cell phones. I hadn't realized until our descent that our phones might not have service underground. As the subway stations became abandoned, Jeff's hauntingly cheerful voice persisted. There were reports of the white subway, which came and left to unknown locations. It didn't stop at the stations. It just came and went, silent as death. "Can we not tell spooky stories in an abandoned cave, please?" Archimedes gripped my shirt to have support, in case he lost his footing. "But even as the subways shut down," Jeff continued, "the sound of rumbling could be heard reverberating through the tunnels, and the sound of a whistle, like a train." "Subways don't have whistles, Jeff?" Rebecca rolled her eyes. "I know that. It's just what I heard," Jeff insisted. "It adds to the mystery. It means something unnatural is lurking in these abandoned subways. Did you hear about the mad conductor in London? He was this guy who used to work for the subway, but lost his job when his route shut down. Well, he went down there again, for old time's sake, and he came out years later. He was shaking and muttering things. White subway, there are no eyes, that sort of thing. What do you suppose happened to him? And how could he last down there for years without food or water?" "Ghosts?" I chuckled, Rebecca's fuchsia-colored hair flashing in the light of my path. I could feel her critical blue eyes staring down Jeff's back, throwing icicles at his dumb blonde head and tan, broad back. "Exactly, Diana, the ghost subway." We made it down the stairs to the subway terminal. I could hear all of us gasp in awe at the sheer architecture. This was more than just a subway. Murals of design bloomed from the ceiling and took over our view. There were old posters and announcements against the wall, everything still in decent shape. Papers were yellowed and wrinkled from the condensation. I heard a distant scurrying of rats. I began to jot notes. "The lights are still on," Archimedes whispered. "Yes, I noticed that. Though it was still dark, the place was lit with some emergency backup light." "That's strange," I muttered. "The electric bill should have run out of this place. There shouldn't be any light at all." Jeff seemed pleased with himself, as though to say, "See, I told you there were ghosts." As though strange lights were proof of ghosts. "Let's just be happy we're so lucky," I assure the others. I jot down things I notice about the subway. I mentioned the design, the great care there was for the architecture. "You know what the old man was singing when they incarcerated him?" Jev's voice had a shift, a sudden twinge of chill that I did not like. It was an old railway nursery song, something children would sing during the construction of the railroads. When asked why he sang the song, he said, "To be taken away. You sing to him, he take you away. You play a game, then you gone. Except me, I should be gone, so I sing, so he can take me away." Jeff, really, can we just focus on getting the information Diana needs and then go without having to listen to stories? "Why are you scared?" Jeff mocked Archimedes. "Lay off, Jeff," Rebecca sneered. "Seriously, there's nothing to be scared of. Ghosts aren't real anyway." Rebecca looked over to Archimedes and playfully tugged at his short brown ponytail. He turned his head and pushed up his glasses, looking towards her. Rebecca returned his gaze with a smile. "It's all just a story," she assured him. We found ourselves in one of the subway tunnels past the waiting stations. I had questions fill my mind pertaining to my thesis. How much money was put into this luxurious subway station? Was it this fancy because it was the City Hall station? And why would that make a difference? Then other questions came to me. Was that a whistle I heard? Rebecca busied herself with looking at all the posters along the walls. Archimedes stayed close to her, looking over the broken snack machines. Jeff stood next to me, overlooking the railway. 1, 2, hear the whistle blow. Let everybody hear, let everybody know. The train is a-comin' with its silvery glow. All aboard the train, hear the whistle blow. "Jeff!" My voice echoes through the tunnel, and it startled me. Then I hear it, a whistle, like a distant train. I listened closely. My body trembled. The sound was so haunting, but strangely welcoming. I didn't turn my head, but I felt Archimedes and Rebecca walking up behind me. My mind was hazy. The whistle got louder. I felt a mix of excitement and horror. There was also a calmness. The whistle blew again. I felt compelled, like the persistent prodding of a song that has been stuck in your head all day. You want to sing it. You have to sing it. 1, 2, 3, hear the whistle blow. Let everybody hear, let everybody know. The train is a-comin' with its silvery glow. All aboard the train, hear the whistle blow. I heard other voices sing with me. We were singing, the 4 of us, in unison. There was a light glint coming from my left, but I dare not move my head to see. It came to us instead, in front of me, a white subway train. I hear the noise again. It's soothing. It guides me through the doors of the car. My friends joined me. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't feel any desire to fight against it. It was like trying to wake up from a good dream, just a little longer. I want to see where it goes. The door shut behind us, and as though it closed off the sound of the whistle, like scissors to a thread, I snapped awake. I turned towards Jeff, Rebecca, and Archimedes. Jeff seemed dumbfounded. Rebecca was too shocked to react, and Archimedes was trembling. "Welcome, welcome!" My breath caught in my throat, and I spun around. What I saw before me terrified me. I stepped back between Rebecca and Archimedes. Only they weren't there anymore. It was just me and the figure before me. He smiled at me, a gray tooth grinned, his skin white as marble, and he almost glowed. "There are no eyes," Jeff's voice haunted me. I found myself thinking, it's true, there are no eyes. There aren't even places for eyes. No nose either, just a white, smooth head with no bumps or sockets, and a smile. The only thing above that ghoulish grin is a hat, which is gray with thin white stripes sliding vertically down. It matches his suit. Reminds me of an old 20s mobster television show. In his pearl white hand is a cane, gray as his smile, except for the bulb, which was black as a raven's feather. These similes come to me. Ravens' feathers, pearls, such as the language of nightmares. That's what this guy was. A nightmare. "Jazzer's the name. The station's my domain. I got a deal for you, kid. A real good deal for you." "Where are my friends?" My voice came out shaky. It wasn't my intention. I meant to sound demanding, hopefully intimidating, so he wouldn't know how terrified I was. He knew exactly how terrified I was. "Already played the game, little darlin'." The creature named Jazzer flared an even wider grin. "They're already gone." No, I didn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. This was too surreal. They had to be somewhere else. Safe, I hoped. I could find them, maybe. Save them. But first I had to save myself. "What game?" I asked. Rather, the words came out of my mouth. I never gave the question consent to escape my lips, and I regretted letting my guard down when I saw his head bend forward slightly. It widened its grin and made it look more sinister. I thought of the Cheshire Cat, but even he would be intimidated by that grin. I felt the subway start moving, and I had to grip one of the bars hanging from the ceiling. The notebook and pen I was writing things down on before fell to the ground, but I didn't dare avert my eyes from Jazzer. I didn't dare pick them up. The pen rolled towards the back of the cart. The subway has 2 destinations. All you have to do is find your destination. The next question was from me. I had allowed my lips to make the words, though they came out with difficulty. What's the other destination? Jazzer swung his cane, and a sickly, pitiless chuckle escaped his gray teeth. He took a step back. Well, it's obvious, isn't it? It's not your destination. The subway jerked, and I clutched onto the pole, but Jazzer had disappeared. I could feel the subway moving faster. I looked down to pick up my notebook, but it had vanished as quickly as Jazzer did. What could I do? I had to find Rebecca, Archimedes, and Jeff. Damn it, Jeff, singing that railroad song. I remembered the whistle. Maybe Jeff didn't have a choice. I pushed those thoughts from my mind. If Jazzer had them kidnapped, he would have them near the front of the subway, right? I gripped the pole to my right. Pole after pole I stumbled to, working my way to the next cart. They had to be there. They had to be together. They're already gone. I couldn't believe that. I opened up the door to the car in front of me. I walked in, and it was just as empty as the cart I was in before. I kept moving. The next cart was the same. It was silent, save for the sound of the wheels underneath. The ride was smooth, but the speed was terrifying. I could feel it trying to suck me back, suck me to the beginning. I went through 8 cars already. How long was the subway? Just as I began to think that I was condemned to an infinite loop, the subway started to slow down. I was able to run without the use of the poles. 10 cars, 15 cars, 20 cars. On the 21st car, I stopped. No, something was different this time. Gradually, things had started to change. I thought back at what the first cart looked like. It was white and plain with silver poles and furnished benches. This car was gray, and the paint was peeling. There were no poles. It happened so gradually, I hadn't even noticed. Jazzer stood in my way before the next cart. Do you think you've made the right choice to move forward? What did he mean by that? Were my friends not in front of the car? No, he was just trying to scare me. Let me go, I pleaded. Let me and my friends go. I was trembling. He noticed. I almost stumbled as the train stopped. I saw the door to the side open, and the whistle blew once more, much louder this time. It was deafening. I sat up, gasping. My panting echoed through the long tunnel. Where was I? It was dark. Did I fall? The floor underneath me was wet, and some long metal was stabbing my back. I staggered up to stand. My eyes had to adjust to the sudden darkness. My panting slowed, and I realized that I was still in the subway, on the subway tracks. I walked over to the side and climbed up to the station. I was tired. My legs and head hurt. Jeff, I cried. Rebecca, Archimedes? I heard footsteps coming toward the tunnel. I went back to where I had been lying before and saw flashlights beaming from it. She's here, I heard a voice cry. More footsteps came, and I was greeted with a search party. Jeff, Archimedes, and Rebecca were all there in attendance. I was overjoyed to see them, but I felt uneasy. Jeff handed me my notebook and pen. You must have dropped it when we lost you, he said. You had been gone for weeks. Weeks? I tried to ask Jeff privately if he remembered the subway train. No, I don't think I was there, he said. Rebecca and Archimedes, when I asked them, said the same thing. Could I have hit my head? Did I dream all of it? I was sent home to my parents and my older brother. They were all relieved to see me. They held me and kissed me and cried for me. I didn't feel right. Their hugs and kisses and their words felt different. Everything looks the same, and everything reacts the same as though it were normal. But for every second of my existence, I can't help but feel something's not right. Something feels different. This subway has 2 destinations. Your destination and not your destination. This is not my destination. These people, my parents and my brother, my friends, they're all strangers. My life is a stranger. Perhaps my real family is somewhere, waiting for me, worrying about me. I look through the notebook and it's all my handwriting. I eat my meals and they're all the same meals. I wear my clothes and they're all the same, but they're not mine. Have I gone crazy? I think of the incarcerated man in London. You sing to him, they take you away. I dare not say anything about it out loud. I don't want to end up like him. But every so often, I go back to the abandoned subway. And every night before I sleep on this strange bed, underneath this strange roof, living a stranger's life, I sing to him. I sing and I pray for the whistle. I want to go back to my destination, to my real destination. Maybe this time I can go back. I'll choose to go back. Surely then, I'll be home again. 1, 2, 3, hear the whistle blow. Let everybody hear, let everybody know. The train is a-comin' with its silvery glow. All aboard the train, hear the whistle blow.